Welcome in to another episode of the Section YY8 podcast. Negative Nease coming to you from my virtual studios in Strawberry Plains, Tennessee. Harbin's coming to you from Straw Plains, Big Montana, with the big mascot sign behind him. Is in the house tonight. Day couldn't make it. Apparently, he had Dane hanging out with Dalton Connect and Zakai Ziegler this afternoon, and had some other stuff going on. So I guess we can give him the night off, even though he hasn't been here in weeks. But I'll allow it.
Pretty decent company.
Yeah, couple ballers, I guess. They had a pretty decent night last night.
Oh, where's Gavin?
So I've seen Gavin recently, quite a bit recently, in the flesh, and he told me he was going to come on for the after the Kentucky game that Sunday night, but they went to eat for somebody's birthday that night, and he was a little under the weather, so he couldn't make it. But he said he's going to try to come back on soon. Maybe if we play Kentucky. Well, we did play Kentucky here in a couple weeks. So maybe we can get him on if we win that one. We'll see. I'll try my best. He does listen to the show, by the way. He's one of the
Who does?
He's one of the he's one of the 70 listeners that we have, or whatever it is. So
good. Hey, Gavin.
If you're listening, hello, Gavin. Shout out to Gavin, former co-host of the show. So busy show. We'll get right into it. Tennessee basketball. We'll lead off with that. They had a couple wins since we recorded last. We'll talk about the failing NCAA. We'll get on that one here shortly. And we got a special segment. Oh, UT baseball. Forgot about them. They had some games this weekend. And then we're going to have a special segment at the end of the show. I don't think we'll do haters and losers this week. We're going to pause it unless you just really have one that knocks everybody's socks off. We will pause haters and losers segment this week to honor the legend, Toby Keith. We're going to do our top 5 favorite Toby Keith songs. It's not going to be a like what song is the best thing. It's your favorite songs. So what we think is our top 5 Toby Keith favorite songs. While we're on the subject of 90s country, I went to the Riley Green concert Friday night at Thompson Bowling Assembly Center and Arena. And Tracy Lawrence was there, which was huge for me because I'm a huge 90s country fan. And he sang all of his hits, Texas Tornado, You Find Out Who Your Friends Are, Alibis. Let's see. What was the other one? Of course, Paint Me a Birmingham was his last one he sang. But the one I was most excited about was Time Marches On. That was the one I was waiting on, and he played it.
Yes.
His last two songs to close out were Time Marches On and Paint Me a Birmingham. Time Marches On is one of my favorite songs ever. So I was like on cloud nine.
I would honestly pay $50, park, walk in to hear those two songs and leave. That's fine. They're great.
You know, Melody
in Birmingham is like maybe top 5 country song of all time, like with everybody. Love it.
Yeah, I mean
love it.
It's classic. But that
do you know what what a Birmingham is? I actually Googled this not long ago.
Well, I'm sure it's not you're bringing it up. I'm sure it's not talking about Birmingham, Alabama.
It is not talking about
Birmingham, Alabama. A Birmingham is a style of like lake house on the water, from what I understand.
I did not know that. That's interesting.
The more you know.
Reagan found it funny when, because I was singing like full throat here at the concert during Time Marches On. Don't take that the wrong way. No, I'm like singing top of my lungs. And she lost it when I was singing, Sister calls herself a sexy grandma. She's like, I don't understand those. Like, why is that in there? I was like, because it's talking about time marching on. The sister was a baby at the start of the song. Now she's a grandma at the end of it.
Yep.
So are you saying that you went sexy grandma with a full throat?
You all are taking this the wrong way. Singing full throat, yelling full throat means you're at, they always say the crowd's at full throat. It means you're at the loudest point.
I just asked a question.
This is ridiculous how you all turn it around. There you go again, Harbin. Your mind's in the gutter.
I was just going off what you said.
Your mind is in the gutter.
I just asked. All right.
But now that we got that cleared up. So there's no confusion. I'm talking about yelling. It was great though. Okay. You can tell Tracy's a little older. He's put on a little weight. Voice wasn't as great as it was. Here we go again with my internet, I guess. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good. Go ahead.
So it's funny. It's funny when that breaks up. When I went back and listened to it because I wanted to see what it sounded like. When the internet did break up, it just is like on my end, it's like nothing. Like you can hear everything that everybody says, including me, but you all can't. So I don't know what's going on. I've been having some internet issues the last couple of weeks. But yeah, that concert Friday night. What I was going to say is Riley's got a song talking about his papaw, and in the song, the lyrics say maybe he's on the 50-yard line watching Alabama beat the hell out of Tennessee. And so me and my uncle talked beforehand. We were like, what's he going to do? Like, how's he going to approach this here? Because when we saw him at Bank of America in Charlotte last summer, he said Carolina beating the hell out of Tennessee, and everybody was going nuts. And me and my uncle are up there in the club level booing him and going on. But he owned up to it. He said, guys, I'm just going to tell you, like, I know you ain't going to like it, but that's the words of the song. It's about my papaw. I'm going to sing it. And he did for 2 verses, but the third verse he changed it around and made it about Tennessee, and the crowd went nuts. But you could tell he was.
I saw the TikTok of it.
Yeah, he when he sings it the first time about Alabama beating Tennessee, he pulls his hat down like that, so nobody can see him. But good show. Tracy sang some hits. That was all I needed that night. So. Good show. All right. Without further ado, Tennessee basketball 2-0 last week. Had a little bit of a rough first half at Missouri on the offensive end, I guess you could say. Bounced back in the second half and ended up pulling away fairly easily from the winless Missouri Tigers, and then came back home on Saturday night against Texas A&M and just pounded Texas A&M into submission, especially in the second half. They led by 10 at halftime, and it was on from there. So, Big Montana, we'll start with you. What is your thoughts about the week that was for the Vols?
Basketball related. Listen, winning cures everything. I wasn't impressed with the Missouri game at all. I thought it was but sometimes you get in those games where you play down to talent level or whatever, but I just wasn't impressed with the Missouri game. We won. That's all that matters. Survive and advance. The Texas A&M game, first half, I think we had a 10-point lead going into the half. Vescovi hit that 3 right before halftime and got fouled, which wasn't called. And second half, we just had our way with them. It was big brother and little brother fighting over the ball. Big brother just throwing oops to himself off the bedroom wall, dunking it, putting his elbow in the rim, making little brother like it. Little brother thinks it's so cool and starts laughing at it because it's so cool. It's basically what the second half of that game was like. Tennessee is currently tied with Alabama for first place, but we have the tiebreaker. Is that what the official?
Yeah, they're both 11. They're both 11-3.
I mean, we really can't afford to lose another game regular season, right? If we want to win the regular season SEC.
Well, we play with Alabama.
Yeah. Well, think about it is Auburn's right there too, so you got to beat Auburn because you can't let them have one up on you. I guess the one game you could lose if you beat Alabama and Auburn is Kentucky, and we would still win.
Well, I mean,
this conversation.
you've got four teams basically within a game of each other, and then you've got six teams within 2 games of each other. So you got Tennessee and Alabama at 11-3, and I'll put this on the screen for those watching. You got South Carolina and Auburn both at 10-4. Then you've got Florida and Kentucky at 9-5. That's really the only, and those two are probably long shots to win the SEC, but that's kind of your contenders right now. I mean, Mississippi State's 8-6, but I wouldn't. They're too far back to make any noise. They might get in the top 4, but it'll be tough.
Right.
So this conversation highlights, in my opinion, one of the dumbest things about college basketball. So Tennessee and Alabama are both 11-3 currently in the SEC, and Tennessee has beat them in their one matchup. Let's say that we beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa, but we slip up against Kentucky or Auburn, whoever, and we finish the SEC season 14-4. And Alabama wins out besides losing to us, and they also finish at 14-4. However, we beat them twice. We would still be co-champions, but the only difference is we would get the 1 seed in the tournament, they would get the 2. In my opinion, I think that's bullshit. Which I'm not just saying that because we have a chance to win the regular season. I just think that's dumb. Like, if you finish at 14-4, 15-3, and you tie with another team that you beat twice, like, why? Like, well, why do you have to share it with the other guy? You know, in every conference, I just think it's stupid.
I don't understand why they do that. You know, back in the day in SEC football, before there was a championship game, there was one year I think Tennessee shared it with 2 other teams. So I mean, there's been a lot of years Tennessee, won a SEC title, and others also won SEC title, but I don't know if they didn't play everybody, but I don't know the whole story on it and why it was done that way. But, that was what, well, Tennessee beat, I don't know, Alabama. So they're going to go to the Sugar Bowl that year, and Alabama's going to go to wherever, even though they're the SEC champ. But, that year, let's see, was it Rick Barnes' 3rd year we won the SEC, tied with Auburn, but Auburn beat us in the only one meeting we had. So really, they should have. I mean, we were the 2 seed. They were the 1 seed in the SEC tournament, but, we both got credit for winning the SEC. I don't know why it's like that. That's a good question, Harbin. I don't know.
If you don't want to share, beat South Carolina and Texas A&M the first time, and Mississippi State.
That's what we talked about last week. I mean, Tennessee's destiny's in their own hands. I mean, if they win out, they win the SEC.
Yeah.
They could probably lose one more and still win it. I don't know who Alabama's got left on their schedule.
So I looked at it. So I think the only 2 teams they could lose to and still like win, right, is Kentucky and maybe Auburn. Is that right?
Well, they've already played Kentucky twice.
No, played Kentucky once.
Who are you talking about, Tennessee or Alabama?
Tennessee. I'm sorry, Tennessee. Oh. My bad.
Well, I mean, it just depends on what. I mean, look at
what everybody else does too.
Alabama's they're at Mississippi, they've got Tennessee, they're at Florida, and then they're hosting Arkansas. So you could probably say, they might go 2-2 or 3-1 or 4-0 in that stretch. I don't think they're going to go any worse than that.
Yeah.
I don't know who Auburn's got. Let's see.
They got us Wednesday night.
I will be there.
There you go, buddy.
Will you? Where are you sitting at?
In one of the corners, does 120 section 125 or 124 something around the corner?
Yeah, it's in the corner. Yeah.
Yeah.
Auburn comes to Knoxville Wednesday. Then Auburn hosts Mississippi State next Saturday. Then they're at Missouri and host Georgia.
They got the easiest road.
They got a fairly, a lot easier than ours. I mean, we're hosting Auburn, at Alabama, at South Carolina, hosting Kentucky.
Yeah. So in other words, beat Auburn Wednesday night.
Yeah. So I went on the Hoop Southbound, had me on for a short segment for their show this afternoon, and they asked me what out of these next two games, which one I thought was more important. And I said the Auburn game because it was at home and Tennessee needs to win it because we all know how teams have struggled on the road this year in college basketball. So I thought winning the Auburn game like sets you up for a big time matchup against Alabama Saturday night. College game day is going to be there. I'm sure their number one announcing crew will be there, but they got to hold serve at home Wednesday night before they head to Tuscaloosa. I mean, because if they hold serve and Alabama holds serve during the week, basically for the time being, the SEC title's on the line, regular season title's on the line next Saturday. So Kentucky has at Mississippi State, Arkansas at home, Vandy at home, and then at Tennessee. So
I tell you what, boys, they look so good against Alabama yesterday. That was a different team.
I understand what you're saying, but they still gave up 98. I mean, they don't play like a damn defense. But I mean, when you shoot it like they did and drop 120, it don't matter.
Score 40, it don't matter.
And they lost to LSU during the week.
We had the game on at work, and I looked up, and Kentucky had 101 with like 9 minutes left, and I was like, "Holy shit!" Which I knew neither one of them played defense, but I didn't think it'd get that bad.
So we played Missouri the other night. I think they said, I can't remember when they said the last winless team in the SEC was, but Missouri's 0-14 right now. They've got to go to Florida. They host Mississippi. They host Auburn, and they go to LSU. Do they pick up a win in any of those four games to finish out the regular season?
Yes.
Which one?
What were the games they host again?
They host Ole Miss and Auburn. And Auburn's not been good on the road. But
I think they get one of those. I really do. I'm leaning towards Ole Miss. I mean, hell, you saw how we played there.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't shock me if Auburn went in there and lost. I mean, it would surprise me, but I wouldn't be like, oh my God. Yeah, I think they split those games. I think they get one right there.
So we mentioned Tennessee so we went 5-1 in this little 6-game stretch, Harbin, like you and I talked about a few weeks ago. We either said 6-0, 5-1 was what we thought Tennessee either needed to do or would do. So they kind of, for the most part, held serve. I know they slipped up there at A&M. But like I said, we got Auburn and Alabama this week. We're starting a tough 4-game gauntlet here to finish the season. South Carolina was supposed to be our easy game when the schedule came out. And I think Tennessee's favored to win all of these games except Alabama. But South Carolina's not easy. Like they were picked 14th at the start of the season in the conference. So that one's going to be tough. But they got a 4-game stretch here to end the season. It's going to be tough. And it starts with Auburn on Wednesday night. What are we thinking about?
I mean, you got to take it one game at a time. You can't be thinking like, oh, we need to go 3-1 or 4-0 in the stretch. I mean, it's fine for us to think that because we don't play. But I mean, they're not looking ahead of anything besides Auburn. That's all they're thinking about right now. TBA is going to be rocking. It should be a hell of a game. I expect us to come out with a victory. Like you said, Auburn hasn't been great on the road. We've been really good at home this year outside of that South Carolina game. I expect us to pick up a victory. Alabama in Tuscaloosa in that. I'll be respectful and call it a field house. But that's going to be a very tough game, especially with game day, all the attention. If they get hot shooting early, we could be in trouble. And then looking ahead of that, I expect us to beat South Carolina and Columbia. Get a little bounce back. And then Kentucky, anything can happen in that game. And no, that's here. I'm sorry.
That's here.
Anything could happen in that game. We split with them every year, and we won the first matchup. So do the math on that one. But focusing more on this week, I think the Auburn game will be really good, but I do expect us to pull one out in a. It'll be close for at least 35 minutes. I'll put it that way. So, but me and Mama Harb will be there.
Oh, that's the game you're going with her. That's right. You told me that. Let's see. BPI has Tennessee as matchup predictor, 67.4% favorites to win the Auburn game. And let's see, the Alabama game, I haven't seen a line for either of these games yet. The Alabama game, Alabama is 63.5% favorites to win that one. And then if you go ahead to the Carolina game, Tennessee is 78.2% favorites to win. And then the Kentucky game to close out the regular season, Tennessee is 82.8% favorites to win that game. So pretty heavy favorites in 3 of the last 4 games. I wouldn't say heavy for the Auburn game, but almost 70%. Actually has gone up over the last couple of weeks. It was at like 63, so it's gone up 4%. But what do you think about Big Montana? Do they go 2-0, 1-1, or 0-2 this week?
We're gonna go 2-0. We got to look at this thing as, listen, the tournament starts now. It starts today. You're going to go 1-0 this week. That's the way you got to look at it. Tournament starts. Let's put a championship in the trophy case. Let's go to the tournament. First 2 rounds we get buys right. Hey, let's win 3 games to win another trophy. Let's get that number 1 seed for March Madness. Because if you win out and you win the SEC and you're in the championship game, there is a way, because they're probably going to screw us, but you're probably going to be a 1 seed. And then start the dance, boys. Like, so 18 to 22-year-old dudes, play every day. Give me a couple hours a day. Don't be a wimp about it. Tournament starts now. Go win these games.
By the way, there is not a line for the Auburn game, or obviously the game yet. I looked at 3 different books. One of them was offshore. Even the offshore one doesn't have a line yet. So,
is that normal, or I don't know? Like, what does that mean?
Yeah. Ever since it got legal, they normally don't like to put the lines out until like 2 days before, especially for basketball. So
Yeah, I noticed basketball is always like day of or day before they come out.
I would assume we'll be around a 5-point favorite.
4 or 5. That's what I said.
Yeah, somewhere between like 3 and 5.5, somewhere in
there.
I'm excited though, boys. This is when it gets fun.
Big Montana, you mentioned the bracketology. I've been reading some of that this week when I've had a chance, and I think if Tennessee wins out the regular season, they've got 4 quad 1 games. I think 2 of them are quad 1A. So they win those games and then at least win 1 or 2 in the SEC tournament. I don't know necessarily at that point that they would have to win the SEC tournament, but I think if they go 7-0 the last 7 games of the SEC season, they'll pass North Carolina and Arizona for that 1 seed.
You mean 4? You mean 4?
Well, they would play 3 in the SEC tournament.
I got you. Yeah.
I mean, they could play 3.
Yeah.
We're already ahead of Arizona, no?
No, most bracketologists have Arizona as that 4th number 1, but it's, from what I've read and heard, it's kind of between Tennessee, North Carolina, and Arizona. Like, it could flip flop, but a lot of people are looking at Tennessee because we've got so many quad 1 opportunities. I mean, they could bolster their record in quad 1 games pretty heavily, just in the next 2 weeks. I don't know what our record is in quad 1 right now. I need to look it up.
I know we've got, is it 4 losses in quad 1?
So in quad 1, we're 4-5. Quad 2, we're 7-1. The rest of them were undefeated. But I mean, North Carolina, I'm looking at them. See, Arizona's 7-3 in quad 1 games. North Carolina's 7-4. But in the net rankings, Arizona's 4, we're 5, North Carolina's 9.
Yeah.
I think right now the edge has gone to the Tar Heels because they beat us. But that could change. I mean, all they got to do is lose.
Well, I mean, I saw somebody talking about this earlier, and I agree with them. And I guess I'm agreeing because it's on our side. How important is head-to-head in basketball, especially when you played in November? I mean, really, like, how important is it? Like, I understand that, like, the game actually did happen, but hell, that was 20 games ago. Like, is that really that big a deal?
It's got to matter a little bit.
I mean, it should matter a small amount, but it shouldn't be.
You got to take into account was there a star player sitting out, stuff like that too, which I know Dalton Connect, didn't he get hurt in that game?
Yeah, right at the end. I mean, there was like a minute and something left.
Yeah, but still, I mean, I'm not saying that. But I mean, I think that has some weight in it too. Ziegler wasn't playing yet either, right?
Yeah, he was playing. Mm-hmm.
Well, never mind. I don't have an educated rebuttal. So
I'd love to play him again. I'd love to play him again.
I hope we do. I hope we do. I hope we play him. I hope we play them in the Elite Eight. They still got to play Duke one more time. They'll probably have to play Duke or somebody in the ACC tournament. So they could be choking down 2 more losses too. So
breaking news.
Breaking news.
Duke is a bunch of pussies.
Oh, 100%. That's my hater and loser of the week. If you're a 6'8", 20-year-old and you're intimidated or scared of a bunch of nerds rushing the court, there was one guy that was 500 pounds in front of him or whatever. Just haymaker somebody and get off the court. Quit being a baby.
The worst part was he tried to trip a kid.
Yeah.
Push him, and that's how he hurt his knee. Like if
he did. Yeah.
Oh my God, dude.
The national media, Harbin, says if you think that he was trying to trip him, then you're on drugs, basically, is what they're saying. I've seen many tweets today about it.
I dabble, so but I see the vision. He clearly tried to trip this sophomore communications major.
Yeah,
he stuck his leg. He literally stuck his leg out. I mean, it looks like from that camera angle that he does stick his leg out, and whether it was intentional or not, he initiated contact, as they say. I mean,
if he played for any other school, I would call this kid a loser. But since he plays for Duke, he's a bitch.
I don't.
There you go.
He is, because remember what Adu did to him in the tournament last year.
Bullied him.
And he had I've got a picture on my screensaver at work on my desktop, and it's Filipowski running up the court holding his eye. I'll see if I can find it and put it on here. He's like holding his eye, and Adu's in the background just looking at him. But I think this court storming needs to stay in college basketball, but I wish there was a way they could get everybody off the court before this happens, because you're going to see. I'm surprised there's not been more injuries like this in the past when this stuff happens.
Jimmy Doc said the only way to stop this is to fine the school $500,000, and I'm like, these kids don't care what the fine is. They're not paying it. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, they don't.
Yeah, I saw that.
By the way, speaking of Jimmy Docs, did you hear him last night in our game when he was talking about the Alabama and Kentucky game?
So I didn't get to hear the audio. I was eating at Amigos after the Carter game.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me, Nick Bernard, listener of the show, he said, did Jimmy Docs just say Alabama raped or Kentucky raped Alabama today?
Yeah. So I saw on Twitter. I saw on Twitter that he definitely said raped, hard P, And then someone said, no, he said raked, which, okay, could make sense. And then somebody said raced, like boat raced. And I'm like, man, that was I heard raked very clearly.
I can't imagine he would say that, though. Just knowing.
I can't either. And so I kept on like checking his Twitter to see if he put out an apology or emphasized, hey, by the way, I said raked. I'm not that stupid or something. But like nothing was ever said. But it definitely sounded like he said raped.
I mean, even if he did say it, it was true.
It was true, 100%.
I mean, that is what
Alabama grabbed their ankles and locked it. So,
hey, I've got to go back and watch it to see. I haven't got to watch the replay yet. I only saw the second half at Amigos with Mexican music playing. I didn't hear the audio. So, one big thing that I noticed from just looking at the stats, comparing to last game, A&M only had 8 second chance points. The last time we played them, they had 15. Of course, that's not that big of a difference in the scoring, but
I'll try that again.
Could you all not hear me again?
Say that again, Nease.
So, one big breakdown I saw was Tennessee only allowed 8 second chance points in this game. The last time we played A&M, they allowed 15. Rebounding advantage, Tennessee gave up 33 rebounds and had 50 of their own. So a huge advantage, plus 19. Last time we played A&M, Tennessee had 35 rebounds, A&M 43, so they were minus 8. So a huge turnaround on the glass in this game. They really did a good job of keeping A&M off the glass.
I have a maybe unpopular opinion about this game last night or Saturday night for those that are listening. What we did to Texas A&M last night makes me more upset about what happened in College Station 2 weeks ago. Knowing that we can do that. Well, I mean, I know we can't. I knew we could the whole time. But knowing that team didn't just have our number and we really just played like shit and that's what happened, like, that makes that game that much more irritating, personally. Now, with that being said, the second half of the game on Saturday night was one of the most fun halves of Tennessee basketball I've watched in the last 10 years. That was, which I didn't get to like sit down and actually watch it. But I had it on behind me at work and we had the sound on and everything. That was really great basketball.
Oh, you're listening to Bob and Bert.
No.
Or did you have the ESPN audio on?
No, we had the TVs on.
Oh, okay.
Behind me.
Thought y'all were listening to Bob and Bert.
No. I'd rather listen to whatever MSESPN's got going than Bob Kessling, to be honest with you.
Bob's a lot better at basketball than he is football. I'll give him that.
That's fair.
Yeah, I'll give him that.
Yeah.
What time is that tip on Wednesday? 7 or 9?
7 o'clock.
Nice.
Eastern time. Quickly, does Tennessee go Harbin? What do they do this week? Win against Auburn, lose against Auburn? What about Bama?
We win against Auburn. Bama game's a toss-up in my opinion. Just to be the negative Nancy, I'm going to say we go 1-1 in the week with a win against Auburn and we lose to Alabama.
Big Montana, I think you have us going 2-0, right?
2-0.
I'm going to side with Harbin here. I have Tennessee winning against Auburn and losing a tight back-and-forth game to Alabama. Only reason I say that is because it's going to be at Coleman Coliseum. That's the only reason I picked that. But
listen, if you two don't want to support Rick Barnes, I understand. They're 2-0, boys. He's going to get his 802nd win.
All right, so Vols basketball, big week ahead. And also this past weekend, it wasn't just basketball going on campus. We had the Diamond Vols were at home. I had a couple midweek games and then a 3-game set this weekend with the Albany Great Danes or whatever they're called. Vols ended up sweeping. I think they won 8-5 Friday. What? 21-5 Saturday, and then 15-6 today on Sunday or something like that. I don't know. It was a lot.
Let's pump the brakes. Let's pump the brakes. We beat the hell out of them on Wednesday against ETSU. The only reason I care about it is I was there.
There you go.
Actually, shout out Cherokee Distributing. Took us out. We got to sit on the porch. Had a great time. Just to be 100% honest with you, didn't pay attention a whole lot because we were having a great time.
Yeah.
And there was a meteor shower come down on us in the third inning. I swear to God, there was 5 baseballs hit within 45 feet of me within like an 11-minute span. So that was cool.
Home run derby, huh?
Literally. 2 were hit to dead center that I know of, and then at least 3 were hit in the left field. If any of y'all care enough to check the stats, go ahead. I don't really. But I had a great time. That was fun.
So
and the conditions look very good. That was the first time I'd been down there in a long time.
So breaking news: Day Vol and I got denied season tickets. I know we'd been talking about that on here for a while. We'd both put a deposit down, and they emailed us early last week and said we were not selected. So still on the list, but just not this year. Hopefully they add a few more seats next year. We'll see how it goes. So Tennessee's got in baseball, let's see, this Tuesday night they play High Point. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they host Bowling Green at Lindsey Nelson Stadium. I think we're in the middle of they said a 15-game homestand. That's kind of crazy. Kansas State.
Is it that crazy in February?
Well, no, I just thought they might, go on the road somewhere.
Classic or something. Yeah.
Do we have a single road game until SEC play starts?
Looks like our next road game is March 15th at Alabama.
Yeah.
We've got a single game against Eastern Kentucky, a 3-game set against Illinois at home, Southern Indiana here, Kansas State, and the aforementioned Bowling Green and High Point. So I don't know what Illinois and Kansas State's like. They're not ranked, it looks like. So probably not great. So, yeah, Vols off to a good start. I will say they showed some of their jersey combos in a GIF or a GIF, whatever that's called.
Start that over.
God, are you serious? This internet. I'm calling AT&T first thing in the morning. This is crazy. Like, I was trying to upload something to YouTube today, and it took 3 hours. Shoot. I don't know what's going on. It's like never been like this before.
Do you have on your AirPods?
No, I don't.
Did either one of you, side note really, really quick, did either one of y'all catch Saturday Night Live last night with Shane Gillis?
It was hilarious.
That was the best Saturday Night Live in years.
The Jamaican church killed me.
Yeah.
So good.
That was awesome.
I got kind of
Nease, you're wearing your AirPods, John.
I must be.
How much do you pay for internet a month, Nease? Do you know?
I think it's like $80.
You should have better internet than that for $80.
I've had fine. It's just been in the last like 3 weeks. Something's going on. I don't know what it is.
Do you rent your router or did you buy one?
It's through AT&T.
You might need a new router.
Do you have a password on your Wi-Fi?
I do.
So the neighbors aren't stealing it. Okay.
I also have like 6 devices connected to it. That could be part of the problem.
Yeah.
2 laptops, 2 phones.
Yeah.
A TV.
A lot of devices for one person.
Well, I got 2 of these bad boys. I don't want them. One of them. But what I got. So Tennessee baseball. Looking forward to seeing some more jersey combos. I think I saw a pinstripe with the script Vols that may be making its appearance at some point. Kind of like the softball team has.
Do you know which jersey I miss? And a lot of people didn't like it, but I did. It's back when they were Adidas sponsored, and they had like it was like a kind of like a Houston Astros kind of themed. It was like all weird. You know what I'm talking about, Nease?
Yes.
We
It
wore
was
those.
almost,
We wore
it
those
was,
the last year we were shitty.
yeah, it was almost like a what's the t-shirt material called? Dry fit, like with the 3 buttons. It's almost like a batting practice jersey, if you will. I love those. I'd love to see those make a reappearance in Nike. Be cool.
I didn't hate those, but I didn't love them. I was kind of in the middle on those. But there was some that there was one set that they wore when Dave Serrano was here where it was the older Vol script that we used to wear like under Delmonico, but they were all white and they would wear the pants up to the knees and they had the stirrups with the black and orange on them. I thought those were nice, but they got a lot of combo of uniforms right now.
I love the cream uniforms when they come out, but I think our other ones are so good that it almost makes the cream ones like bland now.
Yeah, those cream uniforms are awesome, and those orange tops are great too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a big fan of I don't dislike them, but I don't like them. The solid white that just says Tennessee on it. They're just kind of bland. And then they've got a pinstripe with a power T on it. I wasn't a huge fan of those either. If they just wore those other two, I'd be fine.
I like the smoky gray one. I like the smoky grays. I like that.
So I read something a couple weeks ago, and y'all may have seen it too, that Tony Vitello said that Nike has knocked it out of a ballpark with one of their uniform combos, but I don't think it's one that we've ever seen before. So curious to see what that might be.
Yeah.
And I'll say too, the Carter Hornets have a sweet road green pinstripe jersey this year. It looks nice.
I really like that other one. Though I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was the one above it in the picture.
Yeah.
I think it had CHS interlock on it.
They've been wearing those for a couple years, and then they've got another home white that says Hornets on it with pins. The one I dislike, I absolutely hate it, and I've told Coach this. They have a black jersey with green pinstripes, and it looks like a weekend softball tournament uniform, and I can't stand it. Yeah.
Oh wait, these we can
don't hate them, don't love them.
Top tier. I don't give a shit what you say. These are top tier.
What?
I will send it to you. That way you can throw it in the video version. I didn't realize how long ago these were. Those were with Adidas. So that was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
That long ago.
I saw
because it had the little Vols with the star in the O. But,
somebody posted it on Twitter the other day, and it reminded me of it. And I was like, "Oh, those are awesome."
That was about the only thing that was kind of decent back then with Tennessee baseball.
For sure.
So we're going to put a halt on the haters and losers segment this week. I know Bowling threw one of his out, but we hadn't really talked about the failing NCAA. Do y'all have anything to say about Tennessee and Virginia winning the court case against the failing NCAA?
So is it over? Are we out of the woods? Like what?
It's just temporary restraining order, but it pretty much, from what I've read, is kind of the end of it.
Well, it's not a temporary restraining order because we got denied the TRO a couple weeks ago, correct?
Maybe I read the wrong article.
It's not a TRO. It's that effective immediately, which I don't know how long for. The NCAA has no jurisdiction on, or what it is, the NCAA cannot punish universities in the state of Tennessee or Virginia, or NIL collective in the state of Tennessee or Virginia, for contacting or giving money to a kid in high school or the transfer portal before they're signed. Is my best description of it. That is why I wish we had Day on here, because he'd be better of describing it.
Yeah, legal eagle.
but pretty much the federal court told NCAA, hey, in these 2 states, you can't do shit about this. And it's huge for college sports, college football specifically. But yeah, the NCAA is chicken shit. This is the beginning of the end for them, in my opinion.
For football, definitely.
Definitely for football, 100%.
Yeah.
What we've talked about multiple times over the last few months is going to happen. In football, there's only 2 conferences. In the next, I'm being conservative with this, but in the next 10 years, there will be 2 conferences, and there will be technically a commissioner for both, but there will be one chairman, so to say.
Vince McMahon.
Well, I was trying to avoid the name Vince McMahon due to recent news, but
Prove it.
Oh, there's a lot of proof to that. We're not getting into that, but
I don't want to talk about it either.
Yeah. Anyway, big win for the state of Tennessee and Virginia, but an even bigger win for college football, in my opinion. So,
how awesome is Dave Hart, Randy Boyd, and Donde Plowman?
Dave Hart.
I'm sorry, not Dave Hart, but White, Danny White. Sorry.
Oh my Lord, Dollar Store Dave.
Dollar Store Dave.
He'd have done wilted and gone away with this.
That was Mike Hamilton that died. Never mind. Sorry.
Yeah. Dollar Store Dave would have wilted and curled up in the corner when the NCAA come knocking on the door if he was here.
Oh, thank God. Donde Plowman just whipped out that hog and laid it on the table.
Only good thing Dave Hart did, hire Rick Barnes.
This kind of goes without saying, but we are, as an athletic program in general and a university, which I don't want to say university because I didn't go there, but we're extremely blessed with the individuals that we have leading this athletic department and school in general. Between Dirty D, Plowman, Danny, like that whole crew, you know. The biggest power move of this whole thing was when the NCAA first said, turn everything over. We want to investigate. And we had 60 days and we took like 5 hours. And we're like, here's everything. Go ahead. Like that was the biggest power move of all time. So, but we're extremely blessed. This kind of feels like, I don't want to call it the golden age of Tennessee athletics because we need to win something big in a major sport before that to say that. But this is the best that Tennessee athletics have been as a whole, maybe ever, but definitely in a very long time.
Golden Age was probably the late 90s. Football won a national title. Women's basketball won 3 in a row.
Yeah.
Men's basketball was kind of on the upswing.
Didn't the baseball team go to Omaha in
95?
I thought it was
95 and 95 and 01.
01, yeah.
So that was a pretty good 7-8 year stretch right there. Yeah. But athletic department wide, you may be on to something there, Harb. And I saw somebody else talking about that today.
I think the only athletic department that you could argue that might be better than UT just because they have won some national titles is LSU. Their football team's right there in it every year. Women's basketball won a natty. Baseball team won a natty. They're pretty stout, but I think it's between LSU and Tennessee as far as running the show.
So the segment we've all been waiting on. I know you guys are fired up. Who wants to go first? Top Toby Keith songs. Harbin doesn't want to go first. He's going to go last because he apparently Big Montana. Harbin wants to base his top 5 favorites off of what you and I put out there.
All right, you want me to go
I'll
first?
let you go and then I'll go.
All right, I had an honorable mention, so I have 6. My honorable mention is actually a song that Toby was in, but it wasn't his song. Honorable mention with Chris Ledoux, Copenhagen. It's basically a love song about chewing tobacco, and Toby Keith makes an appearance in the song. Beautiful song. It's close to my heart. Number 5, Who's That Man? One of my favorites, obviously. Guy driving back to his ex-wife's house, going down the road. It's been repaved. There's a new man at his house, dogs in the backyard, kids are out there playing with it. Toby has to sit out there and just suck it up. Beautiful country song. Number 4, How Do You Like Me Now? Just a great revenge song. The girl that didn't like him in high school, you know, hey, that's me playing your alarm right now, baby. I made it big, went to Nashville, suck it. Great Toby Keith song. Number 3, my daughter Lily Mays, her favorite country song, Should Have Been a Cowboy. Great lyrics, plays off Gunsmoke and all kinds of old westerns, which I love. That could be someone's top song, in my opinion. Number 2, if you ever been married, you ain't much fun since I quit drinking. Just a taking out the trash, busting my ass, shut up the bitching, tired of hearing about it. You know what? Thinking about drinking again, but I quit. Beautiful country song. Number 1, this is my all-time favorite Toby Keith song. And it's just, every young man just has a woman of his dreams. Sometimes they're too far to reach. Sometimes they're just stuck in your head. Dream walking. It's my number 1 Toby Keith song of all time. It's beautiful.
That actually came on Pandora on the way home tonight.
Great song.
All right. Well, I'm gonna do my 5. I'm gonna do my 5. I'm gonna do my 5 favorite. I don't really rank them in order. I'm just saying these are my 5. So got a couple that Big Montana had, so I'll start out with some other ones first. One of my favorites is Whiskey for My Men, Beer for My Horses.
Good one.
We need more justice in this world, and that's what Toby and Willie were talking about.
Underrated movie as well.
Yeah.
Underrated movie.
That's a good one. Another one of my favorites is Ain't As Good As I Once Was. I'm starting to get to that age where I feel
Getting
that.
older, Nease. Getting older, Nease. Yeah.
I feel that a little bit more.
I like
still
it.
got,
I like it.
Still got some juice in me, though. Let's see here. What? Let's see. Here's one Big Montana had. Wish I Didn't Know. That's a great one. Wish I didn't know now what I didn't know then.
I didn't have that one. Yeah.
Should Have Been a Cowboy. I think that's probably in everybody's top 5. That's kind of the song that put Toby on the map back in '93. Early Toby. My list is heavy with early Toby. I think that was when he was at his peak. I know he really got popular after 9/11, but he had a lot of big hits before then. And then my last one was You Ain't Much Fun. Just love that song.
Great one.
And at the concert the other night, they played Tracy and Riley, and that girl that was with him came out and sang Should Have Been a Cowboy. And then they sang one I didn't have on here I really wanted to was oh gosh, we'll put Boot in Your Ass. Shit, what's the name of it?
Courtesy Red, White, and Blue.
Yes, Courtesy Red, White, and Blue. I had a brain fart there. So they sang that one.
That was honestly the first country like ballad, as far as like rock and roll songs had ballads like We Will Rock You. Courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue, after 9/11, when he wrote that song or whatever, arguably the best patriotic song behind Lee Greenwood. And you can argue Alan Jackson's Where Were You or whatever. But if you listen to that song and don't get fired up, you voted for Joe Biden.
All right, Harbin. Big Montana and myself have put our favorite 5 out there. Big Montana with an honorable mention. What do you got?
Man, I want to, before I start, I just want to preface that Toby Keith was probably my first favorite artist because when I was a kid, like, I mean, obviously, like he was big in the '90s, but when I was a kid, like that was probably his hottest era. You know, like he was huge. My mom played him a lot, and he was one of my favorites. So coming in at number 5, just because it's hilarious and I love to play golf. His song "Shitty Golfer." I don't. That's one that a lot of people don't know. That song is just hilarious, and it's way better if you play golf. If you don't know it, go play it. It's phenomenal. Coming in at number 4, and this goes off what I was talking about earlier, kind of like first favorite song. It's really not one of his best, but it was a damn banger when it was going on. Is "Who's Your Daddy?"
Great one.
Great one.
"Who's Your Daddy" was so good, and I remember being like 6 years old, just screaming that in the back of mom's car.
I was in high school.
Listen, man, sorry.
Thinking about
this is great because like Nease is like 5 years older than me. I'm like 6, 7 years older than you, whatever. So like we're really like going the right way.
I'm just thinking about Harbin sitting in the back seat of his mom or dad's vehicle singing "Who's Your Daddy?"
Oh, yeah. that was my shit back in
the day. All right.
Coming at number 3, and a lot of people when he died wanted to shit on him for this, and I normally don't get into this, but I'm with Big Montana. If you don't like this song, then you don't like America. Is the Taliban song. The Taliban song is absolutely amazing, and especially the time period that it was released. It was just true American. And back then, which times have changed drastically, but back then, it didn't matter who you voted for. It was our people versus the people that didn't like our people. And that is the song, like, Courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue gets all the credit, but the Taliban song is, in my opinion, on the same level as that one.
All right, Harbin, you've got 3 on here. I'm interested to see if there's one of these last 2 are on here. I'm not going to say it, but I'm interested to see if you do say it.
With number 2, I'm going to go with one that I didn't think that y'all said. If you did, I'll say another one. I Ain't As Good As I Once Was.
Oh, I said that one.
You said that one? Okay.
But you can have it. It's your favorites. It's not what.
No, I love that song. That can be my honorable mention. I'm looking at a list right here. Just for content's sake, I'll go with one that y'all haven't said, and that is "Made in America."
Okay.
"Made in America" is not bad. It's probably not number 2. It's probably closer to 4 or 5.
That was a controversial song for radio too when it came out. It talks about mama getting her rocks off or whatever.
Hey,
you know, today's standards, nothing. We're talking about WAP and everything else.
But it's great because it kind of makes you think of your father or your papa or just a fatherly figure in your life that was just good old hard-nosed American. Anyway, coming in at number 1, and I know that y'all didn't say this one, and this is actually probably my favorite Toby Keith song. I
know what it is. Yeah,
I love this bar. That is number 1.
I was wrong. I thought you were going to do the "I'll Never Smoke Weed with Willie Again."
Well, that's what I was going to say. Weed with Willie.
Damn it! God Almighty!
I had Harbin pegged as having "Weed with Willie" as one of his top 5.
But I love this bar. I love this bar is when he made like it was the Curtis. I think it was the Courtesy Red, White, and Blue same album, or they were in like a year of each other. It's the same time frame when Tim McGraw, Blake Shelton, and him all kind of went funny country when they started making like, more not so serious songs because all their damn songs were about heartbreak and being a drunk and losing your dog and shooting yourself in the
Cowboy
foot or
stuff.
cowboy stuff. But I Love This Bar was a banger.
I Love This Bar is my favorite Toby Keith song.
Yeah.
Weed with Willie is definitely an honorable mention. Because if you've ever heard him tell the story about that, if you haven't, I advise you to YouTube it. It's phenomenal. But I Love This Bar. The biggest thing that I loved about Toby Keith was he was such an underrated songwriter.
Yeah.
Like he was an incredible songwriter. And in my opinion, I Love This Bar is one of the best songs he ever wrote. Like he literally put you in the bar that he was sitting in when he wrote this. Like
one of my favorite things about Toby Keith too, he was so unapologetic. Like he wasn't like outlaw, but he kind of was one of the first outlaws since the outlaw. You know, stuff he sang about, especially the patriotic movement that he was in. You know, he just didn't care. I mean, Red Bandana. We also didn't mention Whiskey Girl. Very good Toby Keith mid-2000s song. I miss that guy already.
So here,
I mean, like everybody's got that one watering hole.
Mm-hmm.
I
agree.
That is a shitty little place, but you love going to. And this line just sums it up for me. He says, "I love this bar. It's my kind of place. Just walking through the front door puts a big smile on your face, and it ain't too far. Come as you are. Anybody is allowed. We ain't gonna judge. We got a million different types of people in here. We're all here for the same reason, but a million different reasons at the same time. I love this stand.
So there was some that I missed that none of us mentioned, but we only had 5 or maybe 6 with an honorable mention. Was one of them was a little less talk, a lot more action. Another one was He Ain't Worth Missing. Another one, You Shouldn't Kiss Me Like This. And then hold on a second, I lost the other one here. Of course, Weed with Willie. We talked about that one. Maybe that was all I had, but yeah. I mean, we probably could have made a top 10 and still left some out.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the guy was popular from '93 until
we missed a huge one.
Red Solo Cup.
Red Solo Cup.
No, I mean that's a great one, and
kinda.
Well, ish. That was a very popular one, we should say. How Do You Like Me Now? I love that song.
That was on mine.
I'm pretty sure Bowling said
that one.
Yeah.
Okay, my
yeah, high school revenge song.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah, he's got it. How Do You Like Me Now?
Okay.
Well, good list. Harbin's was a little more under the radar songs that just the common fan probably wouldn't know about. But
Harbin is very eclectic. He likes, Remington 454 or whatever and stuff like that.
I love.
We need to do this every week. A top 5 list of some random category. Just get fired up.
I'm with it. I love that.
It's very busting with the boys, but you know what? I don't care.
What?
Yeah.
All right. Great list. Oh shoot! I about forgot. We did have a question sent in to us.
Ooh.
Well, it just hit me all of a sudden. Longtime listener of the show. Let me pull it up here. Text me. I think it was Friday night. No, yesterday. Isaiah Keck. Shout out, listener of the show. He wants to know, or he stated, Dalton Connect for NCAA Player of the Year, not just SEC, but NCAA Player of the Year. He wants to know, is it possible? Is Zach Edey that much of a lock that it's not feasible? And does Dalton Connect have SEC Player of the Year secured at this moment? Thoughts?
My thoughts are the next 4 games will decide if he wins SEC Player of the Year. I personally think Zach Edey's probably your NCAA Player of the Year, just because it is what it is. Do I think that that's fair? No, but ESPN loves Zach Edey, so it is what it is.
Well, you can say that both, and this is my thoughts on it. I think he's SEC Player of the Year, but as far as National Player of the Year, you look at both of these players, like where would they be without? Where would Purdue be without Zach Edey? Where would Tennessee be without Dalton Connect? I don't think they would be top 5, either one of them,
No.
especially Purdue, because they ride Zach Edey quite a bit. I've watched them play recently. He does so much. He frees up the outside perimeter guys because there's so much attention paid to him.
Yeah.
And even if they're missing, I mean, there's nobody that guy's size in America. So it takes a lot of effort, a lot of energy to maintain him. Dalton Connect is kind of in the same boat. He's a different type of player, but he draws a lot of attention. But and he has taken a lot of the burden. I said this on the Hoop Southbound podcast today. He's taken a lot of weight off of Triple J and Vescovy. Imagine him not being on the team this year. They don't win that game at Missouri the other night.
We probably
those guys couldn't score.
We probably have 8 or 9 losses, to be honest with you.
I think it'd be
7 or 8.
Yeah, they would have lost a couple more games, I think, that they have right now. But that's my thoughts on it. I don't think Dalton will win the SEC or the National Player of the Year because of the Zach Edey love fest, but I think he will win SEC Player of the Year. Sears is very good. I think Dalton's just been a little bit better.
How much time we got left?
We got 5 minutes, Harbin. What do you got?
Personal opinion, I think Dalton Connect is locked up for SEC Player of the Year. It's funny because people want to throw Spears and is it Antonio Reeves for Kentucky in there?
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because I think Rob Dillingham is better than both of those guys, which also plays for Kentucky. So
I was going to say that.
In my opinion, I think that shows how wide the gap is for SEC Player of the Year, because I think Rod Dillingham should be second, personally. Yeah. He's going to be a top 5 pick. As far as National Player of the Year goes, it's probably going to be Edey, which is kind of chicken shit, but I don't know. Is there anybody? And let me ask you this: kind of forbid my ignorance or my empty brain right now. Is there really anybody between Zach Edey and Dalton Connect? I'm sure somebody for UConn is up there. I'm sure.
What about that? What about the stud at Kansas? Their big man, isn't he kind of top 5 player?
I mean,
I've just not looked much into it. I don't know.
Yeah. Hey, quick question before we go. This is more interesting. Conspiracy theory. Do you think that Tennessee's lawsuit with the NCAA is going to have any bearing on their seeding in the tournament?
I mean, if you see him as a 3 seed, yeah.
I saw it on Twitter the other day. I was like, man, what if? That'd be wild, wouldn't
it? Yeah.
Redneck mad.
But as far as National Player of the Year goes, I would say it's Edey's. I'd say he's minus money right now. But there's not really anybody that stands out besides him outside of Dalton Connect. The point guard for Marquette is awesome. White boy lefty. His name is escaping right now. His last name starts with K. I do know that.
Well, I'll read you the list.
Going to win Big East Player of the Year.
I'll read you the Wooden Award favorites right now. Right now, it's Zach Edey minus 750. This is the betting favorites. R.J. Davis, North Carolina, plus 2,000. Hunter Dickinson, Kansas, plus 3,000. Dalton Connect, plus 3,000. Filipowski at Duke, plus 4,000. Darren Holmes at Dayton, plus 6,500. Kevin McCullough at Kansas, plus 6,500. Jaden Ladee at San Diego State, plus 7,500. Tristan Newton at UConn, plus 7,500.
I think it's Zach Edey's.
Yeah,
And he's the huge betting favorite right now.
So technically, Dalton Connect is tied for third in Player of the Year voting. He's better than RJ Davis.
Yes.
I'm just gonna go ahead and say that. RJ Davis is good. He's a great player. Not taking anything away from him, but
Is
definitely better than him.
Is Zach Edey a white guy?
Yeah. He's like white.
Is he like Asian, like autistic? Like what's
he
going
has
on?
It's I think South
Asian.
American.
No, he's Asian.
Oh, he's Asian? Oh.
I think he's half white, half Chinese. Fact check me on that, but I'm 90% sure that he's white and Asian.
I'm just curious.
Actually. But
How
yeah,
wild.
He's going to win Player of the Year.
He's Canadian.
Same thing.
He was born in Canada.
Autistic.
His father is white. His mother was born to Chinese immigrants in Toronto. So there you go.
There you go.
He's Chinese Canadian.
How funny would it be if we had a time caps or a time machine and we tried to explain to somebody in 1985 that Purdue would be getting way more whistles than Indiana?
Yeah. Good luck with that one.
Or how funny would it be if we told somebody in 85 that a half white, half Asian player was going to be the Wooden Award winner in 2024?
I don't know what they would think.
Times are changing, boys.
Times are changing. Well, we appreciate everybody listening to the show this week. Big week ahead for the Vols, like we've talked about on the basketball court. Auburn at Thompson Bowling on Wednesday night, and then at Alabama on Saturday. Big games this week for the Vols. So we'll be back next week to recap it, talk about it, tell you all what we think about it. Appreciate Harb, Big Montana coming on this week. Appreciate you guys listening. I know I give everybody a hard time for the whatever amount of listeners we have, 50, 75, 100. But for those that do listen, we do appreciate it. And really appreciate some of the feedback we get from you guys. If you want to leave a comment, a question on our Spotify page, you can also comment on our YouTube page, or you can send us a DM on Facebook, on Twitter. Just look us up there and send us a message, or text me. Text a buddy. You can text old Nease, and I'll read your question or comment on the air. But remember, you can find us wherever you get your podcast. Any of the major podcast platforms carry us. Also on YouTube, check out our video there. A little more enhanced version of the show there with some pictures, videos. Throw up some stats on the screen. So when you're watching, plus you can see our beautiful faces. I know can't miss Harb's face. It's one of a kind. But appreciate everybody listening. This is Negative Nease for Harb and Big Montana. You've been listening to the Section YY8 podcast, and we'll see you guys on the other end.